Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. If you like the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. My name is Finto. This is Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's going on, Finto? As Finto said, I'm Kyle Crunk, and this week we're talking Titans once again. We have season 3, episode 9, titled Souls. Finto, what'd you think of this episode?
For me, to be honest, this episode was more of a kind of step in the right direction, and I say that because for me personally, I'm kind of a fan of the likes of like Supernatural and like shows like that. And this episode for me had a like kind of a supernatural vibe. The way that they were going to kind of like purgatory and dealing with the afterlife and all that sort of thing. So for me, this was definitely one of the best ranked. If I was to rank all the episodes in just this season, I think this would be kind of top 3 or 4. Like it's definitely in the top half of the season for sure. What did you think of
Which
this?
isn't hard to do.
That's very true.
It's not hard to do this season
That's
for
true.
that to be top 3 or 4. You know what? I do agree with you. It's one of the better episodes this season, but there's more than one thing in this episode that really just kind of bugged me. Like you said, I really enjoyed the purgatory stuff. I don't feel like Tim Drake needed to be in that at all.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been a lot more meaningful and a better goodbye if there was less like, who's this new guy and let's protect this new guy. If it was just more between like Donna and Hank because they're friends, and then she's like, I've been dead and you died.
Yeah.
And like on top of that, she's the only one of them goes back, out of the two of them. I think it would have hit a little bit harder, and because we all know what to expect from Tim Drake going forward. If you're a big enough fan, spoiler alert, he's gonna be the next Robin at some point. So I don't understand all these hoops they're having him jump through to get to that. So that kind of bugged me. The other thing that bugged me is, yes, we got Rachel. We got Rachel back on screen after this entire season not on screen.
Yeah.
But the thing that bugs me about that is she seems to be acting almost like she's a season 1 Rachel. She seems very childish, like she has had no growth. They kind of set these rules and boundaries for her, and she wastes literally no time just saying, fuck it, I'm going to try to use my powers and do what I can anyway, which was literally her story in season 2, was her trying to figure her way through her power. So
Yeah.
for me, it's upsetting to see that she's missed out on this whole season and she's still dealing with the same exact struggle we last saw her deal with no progression.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna kind of pretend to be a massive Raven fan, but the fact that she's on like Themyscira, or maybe, forgive me if I pronounced that wrong. If she's on the island, and she's training with the Amazons, and like she's doing all this blindfolded like combat and all. I'm like, she's become an absolute badass. I'm like, but why? I don't know. I just like I didn't understand why they were doing all this for her. It didn't make any sense.
It almost seemed like female like monks instead of Amazon.
Yeah, they didn't look like Amazons at all. Like,
very weird.
In the Snyder Cut, they're all like CrossFitters and everything in real life, and all that. They were just beasts. Like
they're like 300.
Yeah,
the female cast.
Exactly. And that's what they should be, though.
I have to ask you about the elephant in the room. What did you think about Bruce Wayne's scene? Dude?
Yeah. So
tell me your thoughts on this.
I don't know. It's kind of like, the whole Bruce thing for the entire show has been strange to me. It's a very weird kind of telling of the story of Bruce Wayne, especially in this season where, he obviously turns around and kills the Joker and kind of goes off on one, and now we're kind of seeing the repercussions of it, as in, he's suicidal and he's looking to take his own life now, and he's like signing over his will. So like obviously he's, realized what he's done, and he's now kind of living with the repercussions of what he's done. So I was kind of thinking this isn't really Bruce Wayne, but now after this episode I'm kind of thinking, okay, he's obviously kind of gone off the rails, but the old Bruce is in there, and he's obviously feeling a lot of remorse about what he's done. So obviously I don't know if Bruce would ever be suicidal. I've never read him like that in a comic book before, or seen him like that in anything else, but I suppose it kind of makes sense in a way because it's the severity of where this version of Bruce went. He actually went to the stage of killing the Joker. So I kind of understand how he would take equally, opposite reaction to it.
For me, it almost doesn't make sense because, I mean, the one factor that we all know about Bruce Wayne, it's the common thing, is he lives through the pain of the loss of his parents.
Yeah.
He kind of lives through fear and pain.
Mm.
all the time.
Yeah.
So to see him finally succumb to it, maybe that just makes it hit a little bit harder to see him finally succumb to fear and pain and get to that level. Maybe that's what they're going for. But there, you could also have the aspect of it saying, "Hey, that's his gig. That's
Yeah.
what he does. Is he fights through the pain and the fear, and he comes out the other side of it a badass and making. He might be sad, but at the end of the day, the job's done. And that's why the Batcave is literally for him to go moping. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's for.
True.
So,
True.
um, I don't know. I think that they're definitely setting up the rest of the season to be bangers. But for
Hopefully.
me, just the things that bugged me were those three main points. Rachel was kind of acting really, no character development after we haven't seen her this whole time. We have them at Themyscira, and it just doesn't feel like Themyscira to me.
Mm.
Like it's just weird. And then you have Tim being inserted into that purgatory story, which I
Yeah.
think they could have left Tim. They already had Dick and Gar and everybody else from the living out. I mean, to say that he got shot and then to have him wake up on the opera, like it
Yeah.
was a little much for me. I don't know.
I like that. I like that. When he wakes up, I thought it was a pretty cool scene when he wakes up, and the doctors are like, "Yeah, you were like, 97 seconds or something, or 91 seconds," and it was like he obviously flatlined for 91 seconds, and within those 91 seconds was everything we saw him on the train, him breaking out, everything like that. So I thought that was
Yeah,
kind of cool. Like I love the whole kind of Inception style of like storytelling, where everything is just like I don't know, like I had to describe it, but like like an hour here is like an hour in the real world could be like
yeah.
a week down in purgatory, like so like I know they referenced it in Supernatural as well. Like one of the guys was dead for like 3 months and he went to purgatory, but for him it was like 50 years. Like so, it's just like it's insane.
Donna. Can we say how much Donna got screwed? First of all, she's been on this train the whole time she's been dead.
Yeah,
And Hank, as much as I love him, shows up with a badass entrance, with a badass soundtrack, and a
hell yeah,
badass
dude.
car.
He
He's
was
just like,
like,
yeah, I've been out here slaying ghouls. What do you mean? Like,
it was such a for me it was such a rip off of Supernatural, because like there's a character, one of the brothers in that main show, his name's Dean, and he drives around
yeah.
in like a 67 Impala and all this stuff, like, and he's listening to
I
like
got
80s rock music. I was like, this is Dean Winchester.
I got flashbacks to Loki, how Mobius just shows up in the car, or
Yeah,
Sylvie just showed up in the car out of nowhere, like, and
yeah,
then it just made me. I didn't even think of it until now. I was like, man, Donna really got the short end of the stick. Not only was she being on the train the whole time, not reaching the next destination that she wants to go to,
yeah.
but
Like in the comic books, Donna is like formed from clay. I don't know if you know this or not. So she's not actually like human or
human,
anything. Like she's basically like
like a golem.
yeah, she's like like she's basically formed from clay, and
That's nutty.
she's kind of like pieced together on the image of Donna, or sorry, of Diana, and she basically becomes like Wonder Girl in the comic books and stuff. But I don't know what they're going to do with the story of her from here. What I kind of liked about the episode, I know you're saying you didn't really like Tim being on the train, but I thought
Yeah.
it kind of didn't really make much sense. I'm like, oh, they're kind of just dropping him in to kind of have him
He
interact
did
with
great
people.
acting wise.
He
I'll
was
give him that.
he
He
was great.
performed
He was.
fantastic.
He was great. But what I kind of think is that actually those scenes might pay off in a further episode, because like imagine what's going to happen now. At the end of the episode, we see Donna rescue Bruce as he's about to burn down his castle, which looked amazing, by the way. That shot of the castle at the
Yeah,
very start of the episode was fucking stunning. But
mini Hogwarts.
yeah, and funny you bring up Harry Potter. I'll be back to that in 1 second. But the I think what'll really pay off now is obviously Donna's going to probably bring Bruce back to Gotham, and when she brings him back, she'll meet Tim, and she'll be like, "Oh, you're the dude from Purgatory," like, and they'll have a kind of weird kind of intro, but it's like they've already met. It's like, where did you guys meet? It's kind of like
Yeah, and
it's weird, it's interesting, like
I can already see the scene. It's gonna be Dick going, Donna. This is. She'd be like,
yeah,
yeah, Tim. And they're gonna like hug or something. He's gonna be like,
good to see you
excuse
again. It's like, what?
Yeah, like we were hanging out on the other side, fam. Like,
Yeah,
get
yeah,
out
yeah.
of here.
Yeah, so like I don't know, like for stuff like that, I thought the episode was fun. It was different for Titans. It was interesting. I might have a slight bias because I'm a big like Supernatural fan, and it felt like an episode of Supernatural for me. What I wanted to say about Harry Potter as well is like these like soul eaters or whatever. I thought like this is just like Harry Potter 3 so much, like
Oh
the
yeah,
death dealers and stuff. I was
They
like,
look like ninjas or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Hank as well. Hank was brilliant in this episode.
I just wanted a
Me
gun. I got a gun.
it makes me so sad because like they really kind of tried to develop his character as a kind of a solo character this season, and
Yeah,
it works, bro. It works so
it
well.
does.
But
That leads me to the question I wanted to ask you. Do you think Dawn makes an appearance at all? Maybe in the season, or do you think she's
I think she's gone, bro. I think the only thing that would bring her back is if they somehow resurrect Hawk. Um, and it kind of seemed like they closed off his character with him going off with the
yeah
original
with the
his
buddy?
yeah with his original partner and stuff like. So it seems like the two of them are going to battle purgatory for the rest of time together, like
It was
But
so corny, but I loved it. Like, where you been? Oh, I've been waiting here for you the whole
yeah, yeah.
time.
And
All
again,
right.
sorry to reference Supernatural yet again, but that pretty much same thing happens at the very end of Supernatural. Like one of the brothers dies in his youth, and the other one ends up living to have a pretty full life. And then when the other one gets to heaven, he's just sitting there waiting for him, and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And it's like they both de-aged, like back to what they were like throughout the whole show. And it's kind of just like, "Yeah,
Ooh.
bro, I was waiting for you. We got some work to do up here," like So like, yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, to be honest, I think for me it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't rate really any episode very high in this show. I think I'll give it like a kind of 7.5, maybe like an 8, just for kind of the Hawk scenes. I thought he was brilliant, but it would be higher if he was to come back to the show. But I really don't. I think that was his end. I think
I think.
when they started like
Okay.
building him as a solo character, I think it really started hitting. Like, because for most of season two and like even most of season one as well, it's just been him kind of being like in recovery and trying to be a good boyfriend and all this sort of stuff, and it got real boring, I think. Whereas now he's kind of just independent dude, and he's just like being a badass. Like I think it's fucking great. Like so I'm sad that they don't
Yeah.
get to develop that character of that side of him anymore. So yeah, how would you
For
rate the
me,
episode, dude?
I would say for the reasons I said, high six, maybe seven,
Yeah.
maybe like a 6.97. I think going forward, if they want to continue doing well, they almost need to abandon Starfire's storyline. I really am not interested in when we get back to the land of the living to have more flashbacks and us. We're still feel like we've only got the corner pieces of a puzzle done for her story, and there's everything else needs to be filled in, and we don't have
Yeah.
the time for that. We have
Well,
Tim Drake being introduced. We have Donna coming back. I think this episode is really the setting tone going forward.
yeah.
So like a 7. It was a better episode, but
My hopes for Starfire going forward is that like her only interactions for the rest of the season is when Raven comes back, because the two of them are very close. But like, yeah, this is the first episode all season that we haven't had that kind of shitty story with Blackfire, and it for me has been one of the best episodes. And as well,
also not Dick and the Oracle, Dick and Bard.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like these storylines are not interesting, and even as well, like I think probably my favorite episode of the season so far has been episode 5, and that was primarily just about Jason. So yeah, I think like the
Yep.
episodes without Starfire, and I like her as a character, and she's a really good actress, and the costumes are amazing and everything. I'm not saying anything bad, but I just think that the storyline is just not well written at all. So
Storyline is like
I can absolutely live
afraid.
without it.
It's like a frayed paintbrush. There's so
Yeah,
many different things right now. Like you just
yeah,
said, we have Jason's story, we have Crane's kind of own story
yeah.
outside of Jason. We have just so many storylines. I'd love to see the way the rest of the season goes. I think this episode, like you said, almost felt like a standalone episode,
Mhm.
like not even a part of the season, which is what makes it kind of hit better.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Okay, let's just see what happens in the next episode. I think 310 is out on Thursday, so we'll be
We'd
back.
love to know your favorite parts of the episode. If you want to tell us down in the comments below, continue the discussion. If you have any disagreements with anything we've said here, we'd love to just
Yeah,
have a talk about it, discussion down
100%.
there. And
Prove us
appreciate
wrong.
you guys
Prove us
popping
wrong
in.
in the comments. If you like
Yeah.
the video, guys, make sure you like it. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Yep. Take care.